So one more quick clip here to show we do indeed have our cage in. It is welded. I welded about half of it. My dad welded about half of it. Used his MIG welder, I believe is what you'd refer to it as. This is the first time I've ever welded. So you can see here, this one here doesn't look too bad. That one there, we're kind of bouncing. The metal was kind of rusted and not a super smooth kind of clean surface for welding, which definitely makes it harder. And that's kind of a lower end welder, but I mean, it did more than well enough for the job. So here we go. We got the windshield, the excess all taken out. Again, the 4-point cage with the halo. The seat will sit right inside. Oh, sorry, my camera. Sit right inside there. Got the seat sitting out for now. So yeah, again, I'm not a professional welder by any stretch of the imagination. But here we go. We are nearing completion. The only thing left is to drop the tank and get the tank all set up inside. So pretty proud of the fact that I welded for the first time. It was fun. Good learning experience. Hopefully the cage holds. So here we are. We're in the final stages of our build for our Pro Stock PT Cruiser. I just finished trying to weld on. I took off the rebar that was up front here, and it's angled for this car. So I tried to beat flat the frame there at the end, because I'm not allowed, according to the rules, at least that they have online, to add anything other than this kind of makeshift bumper, at least nothing that I could use that I had. So I tried to beat it flat, and you can see my weld job isn't the best, but it's dirty metal and not the best kind of flat, smooth surface. But I mean, it's holding. Probably only good for one hit, and for myself, it's more of a protective thing to try to keep. I've tried to raise it as high as I could, but try to keep, if I take a hit in the front, I mean, if it's high, I'm going to be in trouble regardless, but to give a little bit of protection up front, I'm not going to be hitting with my front end like some of the guys. Some of the guys are going to have big bumpers. I'm going to try to just kind of avoid them, at least with the front. And front end, again, I'm going to unbolt right here and turn and splice my wires in. That's the only thing I've left to do. Everything else up front, this wiring here, I was gonna cut it, but even if I cut it, there's no really place to put it, so I'm just gonna kind of tie it to the frame. I just raised it there whenever I was welding. I'm gonna pin it to the frame, not the bumper, because the bumper is likely to come off eventually. So I got to clean up these wires here. Didn't get to just the headlight ones. Inside is done. Tank is in its spot. I just got to get my bolts. The threads weren't quite long enough for my bolts, so I'll get that. But you can see I have taped up there all the wiring up front as well. Got the airbags out. This guy just zip tie here. I haven't done that yet. But everything's in there. I put a seat pad here. And I'll try to put a seat pad here. I should be able to. Just so a little bit more padding. Again, the wiring, all the rear wiring is just taped up. I mean, best case scenario, I have it on the inside, so as I get crunched up, nothing hits it, but should be fine there. Shouldn't be a problem. And I mean, rear end, she is she is rusted out, I tell you. But my fuel line, see how I did it? Grab my light, and it worked really well, similar to how I did the Cavalier. So I just kind of drilled 2 points and then cut across with my reciprocating saw, and then just bent it over so it was a little bit more of a flat surface instead of a rigid cut one. Got it's like toilet padding. It's some sort of a rubber for toilet or piping or something I found at a local hardware store. It works good to wrap the rubber lines, and again, that's high test fuel lines. You definitely want that, as well as the clamps. So that should be good. And again, it's inside the bar, as you can see, including the tank, the battery. I'll just bolt right there with U-bolts. I forgot my U-bolts. So I mean, all of this should be able to be smashed up to there and not be a problem at all. So again, wiring over here just taped inside. I did make a mess, unfortunately. We've been camping for about a week and a half, and I'm a little tired, and I just made a stupid mistake. I cut into my brake lines. So right now, if you look underneath, that is pretty much all the brake fluid that was in the car. And I just notched the rear brakes right where I was cutting there. It was a stupid mistake. So I don't think my fuel line I have more of will work, so I'm going to stop and get something just to kind of create a new splice and tighten it down. But yeah, it was just a stupid mistake. Created about an hour or two more work at least. Fuel pump again, internal fuel pump, got it bolted down. The only thing is that yellow casing there is what should get kind of turned down and around on top of that to keep it tight, but my bolt down there points just it can't do it. It's too close. So I'm gonna have to get either glue or super glue. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look at what the best type of glue is. Super glue should be fine, but I just want to double check, and I'm just gonna glue around the top, this guy, that's the internal fuel pump, to the plastic casing, because it doesn't matter if I can't get that off. I can just unbolt it and pick it up out and use my tank again. So there she is. Not totally done, but pretty much near done. And if I didn't make more work for myself with the brake lines, it'd be about 30 minutes from done. So that's all right. We're almost there. A handful of days away from the Derby.